But I would just like to express specific thanks for some of the really significant events that have occurred during the year and the people that have done them. So, first of all, I'd like to start off looking back to March when we had our potluck dinner, and that was JD Crapeau and anybody in the room that was helping out with the organisation on the potluck. Just make yourself known. Let's give us a wave. Thank you very much, everybody. On the social scene as well, we tried out the cafe club process this year. 5 different events, and that was a bit challenging because it's a brand new activity. We hadn't done it before. It meant finding the venues, scurrying all over town. One of the venues became unavailable about a day before the event, getting everything rejigged. So I'd just like to recognise Denise Charlebois and And then again, before we actually got really riding in earnest, we had once more the club's commitment to our charity of choice, the Ride for Dad. And a huge thank you to Roger Egan, right here, for organising all of us. Getting this bunch out at like 5:30 on a Saturday morning, downtown Ottawa, is never going to be easy, but Roger was equal to the challenge. And I will just say at this point, in our next meeting in the beginning of December, we will be recognising everyone that participated and volunteered for Ride for Dad. And Roger has some news back from the event and their deep gratitude for that support. So we'll give that the spotlight it deserves. The ride leaders were instrumental in the success of our riding season, and I would just like to recognise our ride captain, Francois Malot. Okay, now I have no idea which ride leaders were going to show up tonight, so could you, if you are a ride leader, stand and be recognised, please. So we have, well, there you are. Thank you, ladies. Couldn't resist. And then we got on to the tours that we did this past year, which were all the things that had been done in past years, but not for a little while. So it took a little bit of pulling teeth a little bit and really getting reorganised on that. And it's a little hard to remember back. I think we're almost closer to the White Mountains for next year than looking back at this year. But just to recognise, please, the leaders from the White Mountain trip back in May, Wendy and Rabbi Abdullah, who did the bulk of it. But also, anybody that leads these events knows that what makes them tick just as much as that work is the leaders that come out to help on the day and orchestrate the groups, the packets. And for that we have Tony Street, JP Crapeau, who is represented by his father this evening, and Tony Funnicotta. And thank you very much. And then we said, okay, this is good. We're hanging together as a club. We're good. And that was when 19 people showed up for the trip to Tennessee, in Nashville, the MOA rally, and that was way back in June also. But I would just like to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank Mark Thompson, because we'd never have found our way there and back, but without Mark having gone over our route with a fine-tooth comb. It was actually a pretty exceptional contribution, because his busy schedule meant he couldn't come on the trip with us, but he basically vicariously enjoyed everything. And I think when he sent me back the route, and he's trying to be kind, I think, sent me back the email, he said, well, it's really good, Fiona, it's looking good, yeah. He said, you were in the ditch about 30 times. It's like, okay, as long as it's only on paper or on the computer, that's all good. But also, I would again like to recognise Denise Charlebois, who did all of the accommodations and all the route planning and meals and hotels. Co-leader for that event in leading the packets there and back, Steve Yardley. Now, with a taste for travel under our belts, that was when we turned to the next rally, the RA rally in Woodstock, Virginia, which we went, and I'm telling you all this, I know not everybody went on these, but hopefully when you hear these things you think, oh, I should put that in my diary for next year. Because the rally itself, the RA rally, was middling to say the best, as against the MOA, by the way, which was phenomenal. And at the RA rally, we actually, we took 9 days all told to get there and back, which everybody, Francois said, well, I don't get it, I could be there tomorrow. Fine, what can we do? And Mark said, yeah, I could be there tomorrow. I said, well, Francois not going, so it's going to take me 5 days, suck it up. But he did give us the opportunity to do some cultural stuff from Gettysburg, which we thoroughly enjoyed. And then it was over Richard Chalette brought up the idea, which was a bit alien to us, quite frankly, of touring the Harley-Davidson assembly plant. But you know what, sometimes, thank you, Richard, it was a fabulous event. And as I say, it was a lot of great motorcycling through the Virginias, into Gettysburg for a little bit of cultural learning, and then over to see how Harley put their bikes together. The funniest part was we came out from this assembly line, which to me looked incredible, and Grant, who has done 180,000 clicks on his Road King, was it, said, well, considering, I don't know how they can make such a good job of it, and then they fall apart in my garage. Okay, he would know. But it was a wonderful experience, and so I'd just like to thank, as I said, Richard for part of that, but also the co-leaders with me on that trip were Mark Hill over here, our silent but deadly director, and Chris White. Where's Chris? I know he's here. Oh, hi. And that was lots of fun too. Now then, I have not set eyes on Michel Dossois this evening. Is it because of not here? Well, he's obviously scheming the European trip at this point in time, and he's got a busy schedule. But Michel, who we will hear a little more from, we always hear from Michel, fairly soon, I'm sure, will be is the organiser that has really put our European Europe 2020 trip together. I believe we've got 6 or 7 people signed up so far. There are spots available. If it's something that you would like to have a look at or try, just talk to either myself or Michelle. Grant is also going on the trip, as is Jeff and Marcy and Mark. Have I missed anybody? No, Solange, Michelle's wife, Solange. So there are opportunities if you would like to consider that. It is not the most economical trip out there. I know a lot of you have travelled and done so very, very pleasantly for less. It was a trip that we planned with the view of not having a huge responsibility on anybody's shoulders within our group, and basically having the convenience of a chase truck. Chase truck sounds bad, it's like they're picking up the bodies. But you know what I mean, if you don't feel like riding for some reason, you've got like, oh God, I've got a headache or something.
Luggage wagon.
A luggage wagon, thank you. He just raises the whole tone of our talking. The rest of us can't think of the words. Thanks, Tony. But there are spots available, so if you're interested, pipe up, and it's time to save up. The other big thing, of course, that kicked off our season before any of these rides, and the reason that most of us went on these rides and came back very safely, was the success once again of our school. And I would like to recognise our head coach, Jeffrey Miller. And also, it's one thing having a head coach, but if you don't have any students on the day, you feel pretty stupid going around Calabogie by yourself. So the person that brings those 50 students, Francois Malot, again. And it's not just for those of us, those that aren't already familiar with art school, it's not just the 50 students on the day, it's the getting them into the right groups with the right amount of skill and so forth, that everybody has a fantastic time. I would like to say as well, if you were around the paddock helping out that day at art school, let's just see a show of hands. Thank you very much to all of you. So Calabogie will be happening again this year, and I'm sure you'll be hearing about it a little bit later. Maybe not tonight, but soon. Put it on your Christmas list, just saying. The workshop leaders, my goodness, you know, well, the snow's going to be around all too soon, but it seems a long time since it was here. But I would just like to recognise, and it seems like this name's coming up over and over again, because of a lot of behind the scenes work. But Mark Thompson, thank you very much for the GPS workshop. We don't have Bruce Cole with us this evening, but Bruce did the communication workshops, and we've seen, I won't steal the thunder from our membership secretary, but looks like that kind of thing's going to be back on the roster for this winter. But also the person that arranged all of the logistics around the workshop, Chris White, one more time. So, almost page 2 of 3. It's embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, so many people, so much contribution. Now I've got a new title, King of the Camera. Peter Sanderson, where are you? Right there. Thank you very much. And Peter is obviously videographer this evening for this, because although there's about 100, or not quite 100, but quite a bunch of us here tonight, it's only about half the club now, which is kind of exciting yet scary. And so I asked Peter specifically if he would record this evening's piece so that we could share all of this good news with all of the members that are not available to join us tonight. So thank you for that, Peter, and for uploading all of the videos of various activities throughout the year, especially the one of Ray Hemmerling nearly falling off his bike on his own farm. I like that one. That was the one. Did anybody see that? Where it was the GS training, and Ray stopped almost right in front of the camera, and he says, "I bet you got that, didn't you?" Peter's like, "Yeah." Okay. At this point, I would like to just give the floor over briefly, because we do have a special presentation to someone that's put in a number of years in a particular role, and our Vice President, Rocky.
Sorry.
Rocky, I've been...
With all this lovely thanks and giving, we're forgetting about somebody here. Our boss.
English people do not take compliments easily. God. You know what? Even though I can't see past the light, I'm thinking, my God, she's back. Thanks, Laurie. Very, very, very much appreciated. So, JD, could you now take up your rightful position and make your award?
Thank you, Fiona, and I echo the thumbs up for all the good work that you've been doing. So, good evening, everybody. So tonight I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the superior contribution of one of our volunteers. This person is here tonight, Carol Green. She's a friend and a dedicated member of the club since 2016. Since she joined the club, she's been very active in many of the club activities. She was a director of the board 2017 to 2018. Additionally, she's been managing the regalia from 2016 to 2019. In 2018, Carol was involved in the committee in charge of preparing the 35th anniversary for the club. More specifically, Carol was in charge of the room decoration. Clever as she is, she came up with the idea of putting little stars on everyone's table. Well, you would have guessed it. She did a stellar job. Tonight, in the name of the BMW Club of Ottawa, I would like to take the opportunity to offer my most sincere thanks to Carol, and in the name of all the members as well, all the good work you've done in the club, and especially managing the regalia for many years. We certainly hope that you will continue to be active participants within the club, and your presence and participation are valued and truly appreciated. Thank you very much. And here we have a little thank you note and a little gift for you. Thank you.
We'll keep you even though you bought a Honda.
We're having it resprayed over the winter.
I'll some judgment.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Thank you. Just before I pass it over to our treasurer, I'd just like to say, could we just have ask the board to stand from this past year, because we will go shortly into the AGM for the following year. So we have Jim Riker, our past president. We got Jim. Jim. No. Oh, I can't believe it. Okay. JD, Tony Street, Mark Hill, right behind me here, our membership director, Chris White, our secretary, Amy Finney, our member at large for marketing and communications, Andrew Beattie. Where is Andrew? Hiding out in the dark. Thank you very much. Larry Nesbitt, who keeps us all on track, and Francois Malot, our ride captain. Thank you very much, team.